speaking, this is the video for you. We are going to talk about 4 ways to make it easier for you to deliver your VCE English or EAL persuasive oral. But first of all, here are our social media channels. Here is our newsletter if you're a parent or a tutor looking for advice, and here is our shop for various vocabulary packs. So let's talk about public speaking. It is part of VCE English and EAL to give a persuasive speech. Now, various schools do this in different ways. Some schools make you film yourself as well as deliver it to your class. Other schools do it in smaller groups. Whatever the method, it is always going to be nerve-wracking for most students. So what can you do to minimize that stress apart from practice? My first advice is that you want to pick in your practice 3 to 4 spots that you are comfortable with. So let's say you know that you're going to be delivering your speech, right, to your whole class in your English classroom. So pick 3 to 4 spots. Generally speaking, I suggest one on either side. So somewhere over here and then somewhere over here. And then your 3rd to 4th spot would be, somewhere in the front or maybe in the middle. So ahead of time, pick out those spots. Decide where your spots are that you're going to look at. And in your cue cards, write down or color code it for yourself where you're going to be looking at particular spots of your speech. So let's say this spot is blue and this spot is yellow and this spot is orange. Right, so those are my colors. So on my cue cards, I would probably highlight, right, with those colors where I'm going to be looking at various points of the speech, and make sure you space it out. You don't want to be going, and so today I'm going to talk about this, right? That's too quick. Make sure you hold that eye contact for at least 2 sentences. My second piece of advice is don't look at people's eyes. Right, so the spots that you've picked out, let's say you've picked out this spot and you've picked out this spot, and probably someone's going to be sitting in those spots. So when you look at that spot, don't look at the eyes, look at something else on their face. So you can look at their mouths, you can look at their nose, you can look at the hair or the ears, or sort of just behind them in the wall right there. Right, so then you're not making direct eye contact with that person, but it looks like you're making eye contact with them, and hopefully that's going to sort of lower the stress for you a little bit. My third piece of advice is to remember to breathe and to note down in your cue cards where you're going to breathe. So commonly speaking, we want to be taking a deep breath where the full stops are, right, to give yourself a bit of time to sort of get some air into your lungs before you launch into the next sentence. But often when we're, frozen up the front, oh my God, people are looking at me, I'm trying to deliver this speech, I'm trying to get this over as quickly as I can, and I'm just sort of stumbling through the words, right? It's easy to forget to breathe, and then you end up taking breaths at funny parts of the sentence because you've run out and it's like, and now I'm keep going with my speech, right? So make sure when you're doing your cue cards that you note down where you really need to take those deep breaths, and don't be afraid to just take the time to go, right, and then move on. My last piece of advice is to speak from your diaphragm and to drop your voice. A lot of people, when they're nervous, they breathe up in the top half of their lungs, and the air never really gets down to their belly. And so what happens when people are only breathing very shallowly is that their voice gets up here, and I'm talking about this, and this is why dangerous dogs should be banned, and their shoulders go up and everything is very constricted up here, and the voice gets sort of very high up and a bit squeaky up here. This is the same for both boys and girls. And it's very common to sort of get in that position and not be able to get out of it because you don't have the air in your belly to push that voice out, right, to break out of that cycle. So in your practice, make sure that you are breathing deep all the way down into your belly, and to speak low, right, to drop your pitch, because one, it is hard to speak fast when you're talking this low, and secondly, it forces you to sort of take deep breaths to then, go slowly, to enunciate your words clearly, to really make your point. points, and that is hopefully going to help you deal and manage the stress of this public speaking, persuasive oral sack that you will have to do. So those are my 4 tips for speech presentation if you are someone who struggles with the pressure of the task. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you in the next video.